बदल क्यों तुझे जरा जरा कांटों से लगने लगा दिल मेरा. The first time I met Amit Trivedi, it was brief, it was odd because I just was put in a spot like not even inside the studio. This was like on the staircase, lift ke paas. I came from a band background where we would like sing in bands in college and then perform. Everything was new for me. I don't know what playback is. चाबारी सारे ये मिलों के मारे से पूछे हैं तेरा पता. No. So you have to really work on that. Hi, this is Shalmali Kholgade and you're watching me on Mashable Todphod. I had just finished my TY, which is my third year BA, right? And I was just about doing whatever जो भी आ रहा था मेरे life में वो सब कर रही थी मैं. So I would like sing in bands mostly, but that was my life. So when I first got a call, which I got from a friend of mine, college friend था मेरा, जो उस समय अमित त्रिवेदी के स्टूडियो में प्रोग्रामर था. So he called saying, Amit Trivedi is looking for a fresh voice. Do you have any demos? And I said, I have applied to a few schools in the US, so I have demos that I sent those schools. तो वो चलेगा क्या? So it's like, जो भी है, कुछ भी भेज दे, because he can still gauge based on those. So I sent 2 English demos, Valerie and Summertime, which is two songs, English songs to a Hindi music composer. But as you know, and like Amit Trivedi has a vision, he knows what fits where, and he just, I think, took a gamble and he called me at 10 p.m. to his studio one day, which I thought was very odd. Ek to you have to understand, I was like 21 at the time. And you have this idea about the industry, right? That Bollywood में काफी shady चीजें होती हैं and whatnot. Having said that, I was like, let's just go see what happens. And Devdi had released, and I knew the music of Devdi and thought it was utterly cool. So I was like, let's see what happens. And I reached there at 10, and finally Amit Trivedi came out of the studio, and he's like, अच्छा ये 4 बार गा के सुनाओ. And he's like, मैं परेशान 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 किनारे पे खड़ी, ये 4 बार गाओ. I was like, okay. And I just sang the same line 4 times. And he's like, okay, कल फ्री हो 3 बजे, हाँ आ जाओ. And that was it. The first time I met Amit Trivedi, it was brief, it was odd, because I just was put in a spot like not even inside the studio. This was like on the staircase, lift ke paas, you know. But the time that then we started recording मैं Pareshaan, everything was new for me. You have to understand, this was the first time I'm singing playback. So to sing a playback song was to understand first that it is your voice and the emotion that comes out of a voice that carries the greatest value. I was explained the setting of the song. I was very lucky कि जब परेशान रिकॉर्ड हो रहा था, हबीब फैजल who was the director of the film, Kausar Munir who has written the lyric, and Amit Trivedi, the music director, the 3 of them were present in the studio, which rarely ever happens. I realized that smiling while singing, I knew Shan used to smile and sing, right? We know that Shan always smiles and sings, and I was like, oh, why does he do that? But I realized firsthand when I was recording Pareshaan, how much you need to smile so that then that percentage उतना सुनाई देता है recording में. And it was a very bold move, I think, to cast a fresh voice for a Yashraj film. I mean, look at my naseeb. So what I understood was that they loved the husky tonality that is there in my voice, and they loved the openness which you hear in the chorus. So नहीं नहीं नैना मेरे ढूंढे हैं. They loved the air in the voice there. And नहीं नहीं नैना मेरे ढूंढे हैं. Now you can hear the smile in the voice. So they would love that. But that gets very difficult to sing as a long line, because every time you do something breathy or in falsetto, which requires more air passing through the vocal cords, your lung capacity, you're expending that much air. So I particularly remember having huge difficulty in doing that line. चाबारी सारे ये मिलों के मारे से पूछे हैं तेरा पता. So you have to really work on that. चाबारे सारे ये मेलों के मारे से पूछे हैं तेरा पता. And even in the recording, if you listen closely now, I do go out of breath because it is not an easy line to sing, keeping the tonality in mind. If I sing it like this, चाबारे सारे ये मेलों के मारे से पूछे हैं तेरा पता. I can hold that pata that much longer. And live, when I sing it like this. Because live, if I try and make it sound like the recording, I'll go out of breath. Because already there's so much movement and there's so much adrenaline that there isn't as much control. Well, that would be like a level up for me if I'm able to do that. Then the मैं परेशान 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 परेशान, that line is like a big voice because you have to really open up and give the feeling of that chorus, which I found was up my alley. Like that is something I was used to doing a lot because in my band environment, this was the voice that I would use most, which is why Lat Lag Gayi sounds very, very different for a Bollywood song because that projection and that kind of throw is not used very often. Even Daru Desi has that लड़खड़ाने लगी मुस्कुराने लगी बेवजह हर जगह आने जाने लगी तू मुझे मैं तुझे जो भी हो दिल पे वो खुल जो भी हो दिल पे वो. It's like a throw that is not a very Indian kind of projection style. कश खा के गलियां मुड़ने लगी हैं कश खा के गलियां but कश 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 खा to hit that note because it's also like a ta ta, it's a straight note. You go कश खा के, it's not that. You have to hit it in the head and get the epiglottis to do its little squiggly thing. Rush is like drugs. Like I felt like I'm drugged and galiyan mudne lagi. There are particular songs which it's very important to know what is happening in the film and what it is set against. Like a song like Pareshaan or like a song like Shairana, which I've also sung, or Tera Naam Do. The slower songs, the more melodic, love songs or a heartbreak song. Those songs you really need to understand, one, the lyric of what is being portrayed in the film and what is being said in the lyric. The dance songs, I'd say not so much. Just have fun. Like, itna maza. Cool. Like, you understand. It's simple Hindi. Itna maza kyun aa raha hai, right? So just to emote that within the lyric is important because you need to bring the lyric out. You're trying to make the listener understand. But dil jeete ya jeeto dekhogi dekhega to lo dil se. It's not like, she's not like, de tul dekhega. But the projection is like that. Like some words in Daru Desi. Arijit gave me this because Arijit was recording me. लड़खड़ाने लगी मुस्कुराने लगी. Now I was singing मुस्कुराने लगी. I was singing it like this because मुस्कुराने लगी. He's like, do this thing with a crinkle your nose and sing that line. मुस्कुराने लगी. And I was like, oh, wow, that sounds substantially different. It's got a personality. And I think that is what really is required for playback. Yes, emotion, because it's picturized against a film, but you need to have personality. And how you get that personality is up to you. And I really learned that because of that one direction that Arijit gave me during Daru Desi. Vibrato is a very tricky thing to employ because I find a lot of times we lean on a vibrato when we are going out of breath, right? It sort of helps stabilize the note. Is harder to do than I mean, doing a good vibrato is also difficult. And there are different kinds of vibrato. But like a pop song, without a vibrato slams, where you're just hitting ta pa pa ra pa 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 ra pa. If you're doing that, then it's going to not suit the song, the genre. But a romantic song that has a tail now, there's ever so slight a vibrato at the end of it. But for the most part, it's a straight line. That sounds better actually than galiyan. Because sometimes you don't need to leave a tail. It gives the producer also room to play with that space you created, right? And I think that is the maturity you get when you do something for a long time and you realize that, oh, that's why he was telling me not to hold that note. Because while you're recording, maybe the production is not complete and you feel like, "Arey, ye to acha lag raha hai na." But the composer has something in mind for that space. So you have to respect the requirement. But a vibrato, coming back to it, if used smartly and if done right, is like that magic masala, you know. So I remember that perhaps the song's final production was not done. And in that I'm saying that harmonium solo was not there. It probably came a little later. But the drums were there. And the drums are everything that makes you feel that chorus, right? Yeah. That so many people making drum covers of Main Pareshaan, even today. For the most part, the arrangement was a rock ballad from the beginning, from when I was singing it. So I knew that I'm singing a rock ballad, like a Bryan Adams song in Hindi. You know, that was pretty much, I think, what was required to vocally perform that song, so that then the work on the production could be done after the vocal came in as well. In Hindi music, in Marathi music, in most regional music, we give a lot of importance to being able to understand lyric. And in film music, I'm talking about in film music. So through singing for films, I was always told to pay attention to this word, can't hear what you're saying, can't hear the end of this, can't hear the b sounding like a p. You know, all these things are very important to pay attention to. On the Western side of things, you have to sing words loosely. I don't want to know what you're singing. I mean, I understand based on da-da-da-da what you're saying, but I don't want to hear like the da-da-dee-do. Don't want to hear that. And that's a different flavor just based on how you pronounce words that you can bring even into Hindi music. But how you want to do that, I think should be up to you. Maybe not in playback, but definitely in an independent space, which I do a lot of now. Most of my 80% of what I do today is independent music. So I'll say that sometimes not knowing and just stepping into the unknown can be a gift. दर बदर क्यों तुझे नए नए मंजर तकते हैं इस कदर क्यों मुझे जरा जरा फूलों पे झड़ने लगा दिल मेरा जरा जरा कांटों से लगने लगा दिल मेरा मैं परेशान 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 आतिशे वो कहाँ मैं परेशान 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 रंग से है धुआं हाँ